Ever had your car stolen? It sucks. You walk out of a store, you go to where you know you parked your car, and it's just empty parking lot, or somebody else has taken the spot, and you just don't know what happened. You're sitting there with a cart full of groceries going, what do I do now? Now imagine you call the police and you say, someone stole my car, go find them. And they say, oh, don't worry, we have it. And in this scenario, you may not have done anything wrong. You might not have parked it improperly. It's not that anyone reported your car as stolen or anything like that. It might actually be that your car was a witness to a crime and that the police have seized it on that basis. So, this is a story that's been reported with the San Francisco Chronicle. This is something that's happening more and more. And they're noting here the article is, did your car witness a crime? Bay Area police may be coming for your Tesla and they might tow it. So why are Teslas the sort of car of choice here? Well, that's because Tesla has a Sentry Mode, and the Sentry Mode has cameras that look around it in order to see what is going on and what's happening, and basically to monitor for theft or the like. And all of that is stored on a drive that's contained within the Tesla. So police want to get access to that if there's been a crime. Now, mostly this has been used to solve very serious crimes like homicides. And quite frankly, if you come out of the grocery store and you see that there's a murder scene right next to your car, you're probably feeling that that's pretty okay, pretty fine. The issue is that these things never stop with murders. These investigative techniques always start with the most serious stuff, and then they get applied to less and less serious things. So eventually it might be that maybe there was a burglary and they want to see your car to see if it caught the burglar. Or possibly maybe they're worried that it's a high drug dealing area and just like, we think this car will have captured some drug transactions. It never stops with the big things. It always starts there, but it doesn't finish there. Now, in some of these cases, the police have just been able to copy the data off because the owner came out. But in other cases, they've got a warrant and they've towed the vehicle, which would probably also be what they would do if you refused to provide it. If you said, whoa, I don't want to give this to you, then we're like, okay, we're getting a warrant. We're towing your Tesla. Now, a Tesla is not a cheap car either, and so this is a feature that a lot of people might not have thought about in terms of the consequences. Because when you buy a car and you buy a really nice, fancy car, you're probably not thinking, it's awesome that they're going to potentially tow this if there's a crime that happens nearby. I wonder who ends up paying the costs of these tows, because if you've ever had your car towed, it's really, really expensive because they charge you for the tow, they charge you for storage. Lots of people who get their vehicle towed end up in a situation where they just have to walk away from the vehicle because the tow charges are so expensive that it exceeds the value of the vehicle. That can actually happen quite fast, even with really nice cars. The other thing that occurs to me is if they're starting to get evidence off of these vehicles, then what you might actually see in future is criminals being aware of this. So you might, for instance, see situations where gangsters, do a drive-by, but they also make sure to set fire to the Tesla. And Teslas burn pretty well with all of those batteries. So this becomes a bit of a concern. Now, how do we solve this? How do we deal with this in a way to protect people? Well, what I would like to see is more of these features that record things and so forth, because we're not really going to, much as I would like to see a world where we have fewer surveillance cameras watching us at all times, and we don't need to worry that the neighbor's, trash can is spying on us, we're probably not headed in that direction. But maybe we could get to a world where we've got better sort of full-time encryption. Because if Teslas and other products like this were to encrypt things by default, such that the vehicle owner has to provide a password, then it's a lot less likely that it's going to be towed without the vehicle owner, because then the police don't get anything. I personally have no issue with the notion that maybe police should have to get the cooperation of the car owner Because if I walk out of the grocery store and I'm sitting there with my milk and my ice cream melting or going bad in the hot sun, I'm probably not super concerned as to whether it was the cops who took it or a criminal who took it. I'm still screwed either way. And I doubt the cops are paying for me to get a ride home. This could also potentially be a real issue for people who might not have another solution. It might be a situation where you're like, yeah, maybe I don't have my phone to call a taxi. Maybe I left my wallet in the car. Maybe any of those things. And potentially that could be a problem. I also wonder what happens if this is a rental car, because if the police decide that they need it for 2 weeks and you're renting it by the day, I can virtually guarantee the rental car company is putting that on you and not eating that cost themselves. So yeah, some forces might be reasonable and, pay the tow costs and pay all of those things and maybe even compensate you if it's a rental or whatever else. But I don't think all of them will. And that could also be another issue. So, something to think about when you're going car shopping is, do I want a car that might be a witness to a crime? Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, those are kind of my thoughts on this one. I am a big supporter of encryption generally. I like the idea that all of my data is something that if somebody wants to get access to it, they can ask me nicely. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. Maybe you're figuring this is great because maybe it's helped solve some homicides. But yeah, I'm not super persuaded, but let me know. I'm always interested to hear different viewpoints and different thoughts. So hit the comment section below. I'm curious. I'm going to be watching this one just to be like, what do people figure on this one? But also, I have a Patreon link below if you want to check that out. I'm going to link to the original San Francisco Chronicle article as well, so you can check that for more information. I want to thank my Patreon supporters at the $50 level: Bottle Shock and Oz, Canada's National Firearms Association, PJs Forever, CCFR, CMP, Cielo, Purple Dragon Air, and the Canadian Shooting Sports Association. And at the $20 level, that's Mark, Lindsay Metcalf, Larry Kalniak, Kyle Fox, Drunkle of the Baileys, Cameron Johnson, Andrew Elsich, and Dorky Dane. Thank you as well to my $10 supporters who will be in the crawl immediately following. Thank you for watching. Hope this has armed you with knowledge. See you next time.